Hello everyone, this is God and Sinner with Matthew, and today we're going to be reading out of John chapter 11. I was going down the road today and I heard this song about Lazarus, and it spoke to me that this is where I need to be at today. So I'm going to start in verse 1 on John chapter 11. Now a certain man was sick named Lazarus of Bethany, the town of Mary and her sister Martha. It was that Mary which anointed the Lord with the ointment and wiped his feet with her hair, whose brother Lazarus was sick. So she had anointed Jesus' feet earlier and before this. So Jesus knows this lady, and the scribes and Pharisees was mad at her because she wasted the oil. Was very expensive. She put on his feet, and she did with his hair. They was really jealous of this. Going on to verse 6. Therefore his sisters sent upon him, saying, Lord, behold, he whom lovest thou is sick. Then Jesus heard that he said, This sickness is not unto death, but for the glory of God, that Son of God might be glorified thereby. So Jesus letting her know that something's going to happen, but it's to glorify God. Now Jesus loved Martha and her sister and Lazarus. When he heard therefore that he was sick, he abode 2 days still in the same place where he was. Then after he saith to his disciples, Let us go into Judea again. The disciples say unto him, Master, the Jews of late sought to stone thee, and goest there again? Jesus answered, There are not 12 hours in a day. If any man walks in the day, he stumbles not, because he seeth the light of this world. But if a man walketh in the night, he stumbleth, because there is no light in him. So Jesus is speaking of, like, you know, we can be the light of the world, or we can walk in darkness, and the darkness is what causes the death of our spirit man. We're supposed to be full of goodness and full of joy and full of doing for others. So Jesus speaking of there. This thing he said, and after that he saith unto them, Our friend Lazarus sleepeth, but I go that I may awake him out of his sleep. Then said his disciples, Lord, if he sleeps, he shall do well. However, Jesus spoke of his death, but they thought he was speaking of taking a rest and sleep. Jesus saying, and I'm glad, or no, then Jesus said unto them plainly, Lazarus is dead. For the intent ye may believe, nevertheless, let's go unto him. So remember, he was telling that he was not going to die. This was all going to be for the glory of God. So Jesus knew that Lazarus was going to die, but he also knew he was going to bring him back from the death. You know. Then said Thomas, which is called Dimerius, unto his fellow disciples, Let us go that we may die with him. Then Jesus came, he found that he had lain in the grave for 4 days already. Now Bethany was nigh unto Jerusalem, and 15 furlongs off. And many of the Jews came to Martha and Mary so to comfort them concerning their brother. Then Martha, as soon as she heard that Jesus was coming, went to meet him, but Mary still in the house. Then said Martha unto Jesus, Lord, if thou hadst been here, my brother had not died. But I know that even now, whosoever will ask of God, he will give it to thee. So, we do that sometimes. You know, God will put us through these hiccups in the road or troubles. You know, this guy was dead. This is an extreme case of, like, troubles. You know, when one of your family members dies, but like it could be anything. It could be that that you've lost a job, or you've going through divorce, or anything that's bad. anything that's going on that's like seems overwhelming to you. Sometimes me, myself, or somebody of you might say, God, why did you allow this? Why did you allow this? Well, He's doing it for the glory, because He's, you know, as long as you believe and you're going through this and you're staying in contact with God, He's going to bring us through. So it's going to be to the outsiders seeing what you went through and how you handled it and how you came out the other end. That's for God's glory. Is what this is my interpretation of what's going on here. Then said Martha unto Jesus, okay, I didn't read that. 22. But now, that even now whosoever wilt ask of God, God will give to thee. Jesus said to her, Thy brother shall rise again. Martha said unto him, I know that he shall rise again in the resurrection of the last days. Jesus said unto her, I am the resurrection I am the resurrection and the life. He that believeth in me, though he were dead, yet shall be alive. And whoever liveth and believeth in me shall never die. Believest thou this? He's asking her a question. She said unto him, Yes, Lord, I believe that thou art the Christ, the Son of God, which should come into the world. And when she said this, she went her way and called Mary her sister secretly, saying, The Master is come and calleth for thee. As soon as she heard that, she arose quickly and came to him. Now Jesus was not yet to come into the town, but was in the place where Martha met him. The Jews that were with her in the house and comforted her, they saw Mary, and she rose up hastily and went out there, follow her. She goeth unto the grave to weep there. Then when Mary came there, Jesus said and saw, she fell down at his feet, saying to him, Lord, if thou hadst been here, my brother had not died. So now she's questioning Jesus. It's like, Lord, if thou had been with me, I would not have lost my job. You know, Lord, if thou had been with me, I wouldn't have become an alcoholic. Lord, if thou had been with me, you know, my sister wouldn't have got killed in a car wreck or something. You know, there's all kind of different things that like we can say to God, if you'd been with me, why did you let this happen? That's what's going on here. And Jesus is going to show her, you know, everything don't always pan out the way it's supposed, you know, the way that we want it to go. Life is full of tragedies. Life's full of hardships. It's not just because you're a Christian doesn't mean you have immunity to life being great. Because like at the end of the day, when we go to heaven, it's supposed to be that way, but it's not that way here. So I'm going to 33. Then Jesus therefore saw her weeping, and Jews also weeping, which came to he groaned in the spirit and was troubled. And said, Therefore, have you laid him? Where have you laid him? They said to him, Lord, come to see. Jesus wept. Shortest verse in the Bible. Then he saw the Jews, behold, how he loved him. And some of them said, Could not this man which opened the eyes of the blind have caused that even his man should not have died? So they're questioning, like, if Lazarus was so important to you, why did you let him die? You can make the blind see, you can make the lame walk, but you let your very close friend die. So why did you let it? So that's what we do. That's what we do as Christians and like non-Christians. God, why did you allow this? God, if you love me so much, why did this happen? Why did my husband cheat on me, or you know, just whatever. Sometimes it's little small things like you know, speeding ticket. Lord, why, you know, just different things can go on in our life, and we're all the time questioning. I do it. I question God. Why did you allow this to happen? This is going on. These people knew you. They've seen him. Jesus therefore again. It says, Jesus therefore again groaned in himself, cometh to the grave. If it was a cave and a stone laid upon it. Jesus was, just listen, this is basically setting up the resurrection of Jesus Christ. So this is the same thing. Lazarus has been dead. He's in the temple, or he's in the stone. So Jesus can show him that he has the power to do what to do even greater things. Jesus said, "Take away the stone." Martha, his sister, Martha, the sister of him that was dead, saith unto him, "Lord, by this time he stinketh, for he had been dead 4 days." Jesus said unto her, said, "I not unto thee that if thou wouldest believe that thou shouldest see the glory of God." He's asking a question. Then they took away the stone from the place where the dead was laid, and Jesus lifted up his eyes and said, "Father, I thank thee, and thou hast heard me." So he had said a prayer, and he's telling God, "Thank you, because I know you heard it." That's something I need to start doing, telling God I thank you for it before I even receive the prayer. That's something that I just spoke to me there. "And I knew that thou heardest me always, but because of the people which stand by, I said, that they may believe that thou hast sent me." So he's telling God he always believes that whatever he prays is going to happen, but he wants to show the unbelievers the faith and show them who he is, which is the Christ. And then he had spoken, he cried out with a loud voice, "Lazarus, come forth." And he was dead cometh forth, bound hand and foot with grave clothes, and his face was bound about with a napkin. Jesus saith unto him, "Loosen him, and let him go." Then many of the Jews which had came to Mary and had seen these things which Jesus had believed on him, but some of them went their ways to the Pharisees and told them what Jesus had done. That gathered the chief priests and the Pharisees' council and said, "What do we? For this a man doeth many miracles. If we let him thus alone, all men that will believe him, and the Romans shall come and take us away our place of the nation." And one of them named Cyprus, being the high priest that same year unto them, "Ye know nothing at all, nor consider that it is expedient for us that no man should die, that one man should die for the people, and that the whole nation perish not." So I'm glad I read this, because at this point, the high priest is letting him know, okay, this. So I believe the high priest at this point, this is what I'm reading, believes from the scriptures that Jesus is the Christ. He doesn't come out and say it, but he does say, "Nor consider that it is expedient for us that one man should die for the people, and the whole nation that the whole nation perish not." So he's saying one man died, like Jesus is the man, we gotta kill him, because it talks about in the prophecies. And so this is the point where they know that Jesus is really the Christ, but they know they have to fulfill the prophecies. So that's what I'm seeing. That's what I'm reading. And Jesus was showing everybody this was the way it's going to be, and this guy seen it. So like Lazarus died, and then Jesus came and rode the boat off. Now Lazarus was dead one more day than Jesus was buried in the tomb. So then they said he stunk and all this stuff. Imagine somebody being dead 4 days. Jesus said, just told him to rise and walk to him, and he got up and walked to him, a dead man. Then he had to put his hands up. It was just the words coming out of his mouth. So our words are very important. I'm not saying that we can bring somebody back from the dead by using our words, but Jesus used words, and they came. So we need to speak life into what I'm getting at is we need to speak life into our life, and not speak death or negativity into our life. And this, some days, some months, some weeks, some years are hard to do that, because it seems like that everything's just going so bad. But we can turn that around by speaking positive things out of our mouth. Maybe sometimes we might not even fully believe them, but the words come out of our mouth does make a difference in like the outcome. We can stay in negative, we can stay in the pits, but you know, and I've been guilty of this. Where I can talk about it. I've been guilty about negative self-talk. We shouldn't be never talking negative about ourselves. We should always be speaking life into us, and like that we are good enough, and that we can do this, and that we are, you know, bring it into existence by speaking it. There's a lot of power in this tongue. I need to do a chapter on James chapter 3. I did one a long time ago, or maybe I've already did one. So if you go back to, like, I think it's the second video, I did talk about it. I jumped around though, so it wasn't exactly just on that one. But James chapter 3 is a very good place to go to learn about the power of our tongue. Okay, so now I'm going to verse 51. And this spake he not on himself, but being high priest that year, he prophesied that Jesus should die for that nation. And not for the nation only, but that also he should gather together in one of the children of God that was scattered abroad. Then from that day forth he took counsel together for to put him to death. So they're plotting Jesus' death because they know they got to kill him, because they know now they know he's the Christ, and the Christ has to be crucified. They know this, so now they're just fulfilling a prophecy. That's something I've really never put together, and I've never been taught that, but this is what I'm seeing here. And the Jews' Passover was at hand, that many went out of the country up of Jerusalem before the Passover to purify themselves. Then sought they for Jesus, and spoke among them themselves, as they stood by in the temple, what thinketh ye that he will not come to the feast? Now both the chief priests and the Pharisees had given the commandment that if any man knew where he should shew it, and they might take him. So this is where they put the hit. This is where they put the hit on Jesus' head. This guy, one of these guys up here, Judas, Judas like turned him in for a couple coins of silver. It wasn't really much money at all, but it all had to be done. And these guys, now I see they was just really trying to fulfill the prophecy. I don't know how often that's taught, or it's never really been taught to me. It just came to me by listening to that, by reading that today. It just came to me right then that they knew what they was doing. They knew who he was. They did not know who he was. You know, I think they do teach a lot of, you know, from me growing up, they was just idiots. But they wasn't idiots. They knew what they were doing. So they knew that by killing Jesus, they would save so many lives. You know, and it showed at the beginning where he's talking about the lady that wiped his hair with that oil. So this lady was held in high regards to Jesus. So it shows that, like, our friends and family, they're very important. People that we hang out with is important to Jesus, because their prayers and their request is strong for Jesus. So, you know, if you got some people that you know, strong people in your corner praying for you, that shows that the prayers can be answered. It don't matter how grim it looks. And I'm not going to say that, like, your son or daughter dies tomorrow, that you have enough people praying that Jesus is going to bring them back. I'm not saying that it couldn't happen either, but what I'm trying to get at is it's showing me that lady was held in high regard to Jesus, and he went and did it. He was also showing them the way. And, you know, it's our spirit, though, that's dead. This gets resurrected. Our spirit, we're born of a sinful nature, and we are sinners. And then when we get baptized, that baptism recreates the death, burial, and resurrection of Jesus, and we become a new creature, and we're covered in the blood, continuously covered. So even though we still sin and we do things, God looks at us as if we're Jesus. We've been covered in the blood for that death that we're talking about, where the Jews, the Pharisees, and the scribes had plotted that day to kill Jesus, and it was not evil or malice from what I just read there. It was because they knew who he was. At that point, they knew who he was. And they knew it had to happen. It's plain as day what I just read. I hope that y'all got something out of that, and I hope y'all go back and reread what I taught today. And if you can, read James chapter 3, because that goes with what I read today too, and what I was talking about, the the power of our tongue, the power of what we speak out. It's very real, and Jesus talks about, God talks about in the beginning, and then it's all through the book about being positive and speaking good things, and the stuff that comes out of our mouth can happen. I mean, Jesus says in one point, that you can move a mountain. You can tell a mountain to pick up and move somewhere just by speaking it. That was going a little crazy with it, but he's letting you know that, like, the words do matter comes out of our mouth. And try to not talk negative. Try to be positive, even when negative things are happening around you. And the world is very negative. You never see nothing good on the news. They just push all this bad stuff. So I just pray that you can be the light of the world. If you have not got baptized, holler at me. We'll get it done, or go. Make sure you find a good church that you trust to do it. And so that's about the end of the sermon today. I pray y'all have a blessed day. Thank you, and God bless each and every one of y'all. Like, share, and subscribe, please.